Hello, everyone, and welcome. My name is Dr. Ashley Elliott, but I'm also affectionately known as Dr. Vivid. My pronouns are she, her, and hers. I am a doctor of clinical psychology, a therapist, a mental health advocate, and an author. I am so excited to take a few minutes to talk with you guys, and I have two amazing guests to talk about women and burnout, specifically Black women and burnout. Ladies, could you introduce yourselves?
Hi, I'm Shadaé. I'm a content creator and activist, and I'm the founder of Black Voices Matters. My pronouns are she, her, and hers.
Hello, everyone. My name is Nylah. Pronouns are she, her, hers, and I am a creator in LA. I absolutely love traveling and helping others live their life to the fullest. And Dr. Vivid, we would love to hear more about you and get this convo started.
Well, thank you. So I am a therapist in private practice in Washington, D.C., and my office is located in Arlington, Virginia. I am a big proponent of mental health and wellness, and this conversation as a Black woman means so much to me as the topic of burnout is so embedded in all of our lives, honestly. You ladies, I know, have such incredible backgrounds, lives, and passions. And like any Black woman, especially right now, I know that you have felt, feelings related to burnout and pressures of doing it all. So tell me a little bit more about your personal experiences with burnout and the idea that you have to be everything and do it all. Shadaé, you want to start?
I feel like for me, I'm definitely feeling a lot lately. I've graduated college last year, so I'm definitely feeling the pressure of getting a job, finding a job, and also dealing with my chronic illness, endometriosis, had definitely put me at a setback. And then on top of that, being a person with depression and anxiety is like so many things tackling all at once that I do feel like I feel burnout more than I normally used to. And I feel like now it's time for me to take a step back and not be afraid to rest. And also remembering not everything's gonna work in my timing. Everything happens in divine timing. And that it is okay to rest and not to be afraid to just let loose and not always feel like I need to run.
Yes, I can definitely attest to that, the running mentality. I also recently graduated from school back in December of 2020, of course, right in the midst of the pandemic, and being surrounded by so many other successful students, a lot of engineers, consultants, CS majors. I'm looking at them like, okay, I have to get there too. On top of that, even just the career field, I'm surrounded by other influencers and content creators, and I am very inspired by what I'm seeing. But sometimes you can get caught up in it to want to do so much to try and get there. Last year, I found myself working a 9 to 5, having a side social media job, and then managing my personal brand. And I looked up one day and I was like, I can barely breathe. I need to stop. I need to slow down because I don't have to do 100 things at once to get to where I want to go.
Absolutely. Y'all are Jills of all trades. You have your hands in many pots associated with your vision. And it's often common to look at what other people are doing and go like, I have to do just the same, just the same. I have to do what you're doing. Especially as a Black woman, we are taught we have to work twice as hard and twice as long to be able to compete with our non-Black counterparts. And it is feeds into that idea of grind culture. You got to work until you pass out. You got to work until you die. And that's not what life is about. And, being a Black woman, especially the idea of superwoman syndrome, that we as women have to figure out a way to do it all. We have to take care of home. We have to take care of work. You better have a hobby. You have to be social. You have to have other passions, and you can't complain and you can't vent, and you have to keep those emotions intact. And also, don't you show too much emotion, because then we question whether you're competent enough to handle it, or nay, you may be seen as the angry Black woman. So we want to kind of shift from that idea and humanize ourselves so that we can understand that burnout and grind culture are not rites of passage. There are things that negatively impact our mental health and wellness overall. It's so important to practice self-preservation. I tell clients all the time that you have to take time for yourself. You have to make sure that you're pouring into yourself, whether it's taking 5, 10, 15 minutes to yourself to just relax, unwind, disconnect, and recharge, because you won't be able to run like that forever. And you'll find that, talking about depression and anxiety, those symptoms will flare if you do not pour into yourself. So tell me some of the ways that you guys are pouring into yourselves so we can defeat the burnout monster. Nylah, you want to start?
Yeah, for sure. Definitely something I've been doing this year is giving myself permission to actually rest. And rather than only resting when I hit burnout and I'm like at my wit's end, I've developed a system where I do self-care and I love on myself once a week. So every Sunday, I do a couple of things. One, bubble baths and watching a really good Netflix show. My second thing is I love to explore the outdoors and being outside in nature. That really helps to ground me. And then lastly, something that anyone could do is yoga or meditation. And you can find resources online, free ones, like looking at videos on YouTube. Something I used was Aloe Moves. And what I really appreciated is it's a workout type of app where you can do different classes online, but they had a section for mindfulness and they had a section for mindfulness. And that was so cool to me because I had never done meditations before. They had classes teaching you how to do it. And that big shift for me has really helped to cope with burnout, but also kind of the preventative method to make sure that I'm not getting to burnout all the time.
Like for me, I definitely tackle my burnout or before I reach burnout with journaling. Journaling is one of my number one things I do. Also reading. I love mythology books because it takes me to a whole new world and I can feel like a release of fresh breath air. Also just playing with pets. My sister has this cute little pug that I play with all the time and take her, and it's just so therapeutic. And also music. I think just getting up in your room by yourself and dancing around or just singing around is definitely something that can release you. And it's something I do. And it feels so, so good because I feel free. And I feel like that's what you want to be. You want to be free instead of feeling all the time just very tight.
Dr. Vivid, we would love to hear some more approaches or techniques that you'd like to recommend for either preventing burnout or coping with it when we ever find ourselves there.
Absolutely. I love the things that you guys have already shared. It's like you have been listening to my client sessions, which is a HIPAA violation. We'll talk to you about that later. But, all of these things, taking music into your daily living and getting moving, journaling so you can get out those emotions that you may not yet feel comfortable with sharing other people, but at least they're released until you feel safe enough to share those with other people. Definitely getting sleep, because once our body is out of alignment, if we don't pay attention to our mental health needs, our physical needs will start to kick in. The mind and body are connected. So we don't want you ignoring if you're having headaches, if you're having backaches, if you're sleeping too much, you're not sleeping enough, if there are changes in your eating, if you're feeling frustrated to the point where everything is an annoyance, but you can't figure out why, if you're feeling like I'm actually getting sleep, but I'm always tired. All of those things are signs that you are under a lot of stress and you're probably approaching, or if not in the room with, burnout. You want to make sure that if you're going to therapy, I'm a proponent, you go to therapy, you're processing those emotions, and you're doing everything you can to take time for yourself. Whether it's 5, 10, 15 minutes, you can make it happen. And also learning to say no. You don't have to always do and go, go, go. No is a complete sentence.
I feel like saying no is definitely my struggle, and creating boundaries with friends and family, especially family, is something I feel like I struggle with. Like, if you don't want to go out that day, they always be like, oh, you always want to go out. And then it's like trying to explain to people why you don't want to go out, but then them not fully understanding. Do you have any advice on how to set boundaries and how to not be afraid to say no?
Yes. One, people who love you and respect you should understand that you saying no is for your safety. And there's a such thing as positive selfishness versus negative selfishness. And saying no to preserve our energy and to preserve our emotions, that's selfish, but it's good and it's needed. Also, remembering that your boundaries are made for you. Most of the time, we set a boundary because you're encroaching upon something that you shouldn't. You've made me feel emotionally, physically, mentally like I'm not as safe as I could be. So I'm doing this to protect me. My boundaries are my own. They don't belong to other people. So controversy, but their feelings being hurt and the offense of you can't do it, we have to understand that we are not everything to everyone. So we're allowed to set those boundaries and to stand firm in them so that we can preserve ourselves and be our best selves. You got to show up for yourself before you show up for everyone else. And I think that a part of this also, as we have in this conversation, is understanding that we don't have anything to prove to anyone. We're doing and we are enough. And we have to set those boundaries to continue making sure that we are enough. So I think something that we can really take away from this conversation is that though we feel this pressure to keep going and to do it all, that we don't have to. And that vulnerability is a superpower. And it's all right to say, hey, I'm not okay, or I need help, or I'm feeling this way. And connecting with other people in our circle, in our tribe, so that we can feel supported and get the help we need. So we're not hitting that burnout wall. We're not feeling drained all the time. I believe that we can commit to doing at least one thing a week to fight this burnout monster and to stand up for ourselves against grind culture. So I would love to hear what you guys will be doing to fight the burnout monster in your own lives. Shadaé, you want to start?
I feel like for me, I'm definitely going to be going to therapy more. So back therapy this week, so I'm really excited about that because I feel like therapy just creates a release for you and just everything just feels so much better talking to somebody. Also, I feel like just talking to friends more. I feel like talking to friends helps so much because you can just be free, and also you could just talk to friends about anything if you need to vent to your friend. But I also want everybody to know, if you before venting to a friend, make sure you ask them permission because not everybody wants you to trauma them. So make sure you ask permission. And a few resources I want to shout out is Therapy for Black Girls. Therapy for Black Girls helped me find my therapist who's a Black woman, and I definitely recommend that for people. And also Endo for Black Girls, if you suffer with endometriosis like I do, is definitely an amazing community that helped me with learning more about endometriosis and just getting to support one another who has endometriosis.
Awesome.
Yeah, heavy on the therapy. I also recently started that again. Can confirm that if it's, for you, it is a good thing to try out. Something that I'll continue to do on a weekly basis is giving my own personal time in the morning. I think it's so important to start your mornings off with time to yourself, getting you grounded for the day. I recently purchased the 5-minute journal. I'm sure you've probably seen it like all over social media. And when I tell you just a couple of minutes in a positive mindset, being gracious about things in the morning, talking about what you're looking forward to do in your day, it is such a good mindset shift and a good way to start out your days. And you might be really sad, but at least you're starting out and you're trying. So those little steps, they will start to build up. And it definitely helps to continue that process of loving yourself, taking time for yourself, and kind of helping in your journey of burnout.
Awesome. I love those resources, especially when we talk about chronic illness. Sometimes we feel like we're alone, especially when we talk about endometriosis, which is a condition that definitely affects a lot of Black women and Black girls. And 5-minute journal, it's amazing. It's so amazing how a few minutes of your day and taking time for yourself and gratitude and reflection can change the trajectory of your day. I also want to throw out the resource of Psychology Today to find therapists, psychiatrists, nurse practitioners for your therapy and medication management needs. It gives you the ability to check and see what your insurance is. If you want to, especially representation matters, finding a therapist that looks like you, especially for Black women, we are underserved when it comes to finding therapists who are Black women, but we're there. I'm here. So you can look at Psychology Today and set your preferences. Do you want a woman? Do you want a man? Do you want a Black person that represents the LGBTQIA community? Haha, me too. Or if you have any religious preferences, all of those things are available on Psychology Today. And I want to remind everyone that as we've talked about taking time for ourselves, pauses are not permanent, and burnout does not have to be a part of your life. Burnout is something that we can avoid just by taking time for ourselves. You guys have been so amazing. Thank you so much, ladies, for being open and honest and having this conversation with me. And I want everyone to remember that all the resources we mentioned today will be linked right below at katespade.hercampus.com. And if you guys want to connect with me, I'm on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Twitter at Dr. Vivid, or you can contact me directly by going to drvivid, DoctorVivid.com.